before her first council meeting, Mayor Olivia Chow announced that the city would immediately be finding new shelter spaces based on new federal funding agreed to yesterday, but that more would be needed.
And we need at least $160 million from the federal government to help us in sheltering these refugees.
Well, that didn't take long, did it? Barely in office for 5 minutes and here we go. Which is indicative of the bigger problem here. The problem that no one seems to want to admit to while they're screaming for housing for immigrants and refugees. If you don't have enough space for what you've got, why bring more?
Leaders from organizations serving refugees are sounding the alarm over an urgent need for governments to address a growing crisis in Toronto. Shelters in the city have been at full capacity for months, and that has forced facilities to turn away refugees and asylum seekers. As a result, many of those people are now sleeping on the streets.
It is unacceptable in a country like Canada that vulnerable refugees be having to sleep in the streets, or vulnerable asylum claimants have to be sleeping in the streets. But the solution on that requires all of us to step up together. And I'll be blunt as well. Housing isn't a primary federal responsibility. It's not something that we have direct carriage of.
We see this on the streets of Toronto, where refugees are living on the pavement. It wasn't like this 8 years ago. When refugees came to Canada, we had them sponsored by charities, churches, mosques, synagogues, other nonprofits to give them homes, help them write resumes, and get them fast work permits so they could get jobs and paychecks.
We can talk about smarter immigration policies, even pickier immigration policies when it comes to skilled workers. But at some point, that melting pot you're trying to create gets full, and then it starts to boil over, which is where we are. Because this isn't just about housing, is it? This isn't just about why we didn't have the housing to accommodate the numbers of people being brought in, and pretty much commandeering hotel rooms hasn't done much to ease the problem either.
With the help of $97 million pledged from the federal government, the city is opening up 150 shelter spaces with plans to add 100 more in the near future by renewing hotel contracts where possible.
We're desperately seeking space, but the hotels are saying we have tourists coming in. So it's not, during the COVID time, we were able to secure some hotel spaces, but some hotels are saying no. City Council, based on how much money we have, approved 250 shelter space, hotel space. Yes, hotels are expensive, but our shelters are full. We have no choice but to rent hotels, and they're expensive.
Now we have politicians standing there telling us we have to open our homes to accommodate the people they did not properly prepare for. And as if that isn't bad enough, we're supposed to be happy that another million will be brought in every year from now on. I can tell you from personal experience, the immigration standards 20 years ago were very different. This is sick and it's twisted. You bring in more than you have room for, and then try to guilt trip your own citizens into taking them in amidst all the other problems this has brought. Because unless you didn't notice, a whole thing just went down at a protest between two factions who seem to have brought a turf war all the way from Ethiopia to Toronto.
Tensions were high outside this downtown hotel where police faced protesters condemning the contentious gathering.
Demonstrators standing in opposition to the Eritrean government streamed into the park with weapons. At least 9 people were hurt, one of them stabbed. There was another clash in the afternoon, with police holding the two sides back, some people holding sharpened sticks as weapons. No charges have been laid, but police say they're reviewing video and talking to witnesses.
First generation is always going to have challenges integrating, but their kids and their grandkids are seamlessly and completely integrated. This is understanding that when we think about integration and success, we can't be overly impatient.
Violence erupted at a festival for Toronto's Eritrean community on Saturday. At least 9 people were sent to hospital when
Investigations are continuing after a riot broke out at an Eritrean cultural festival in Stockholm. Dozens of people were injured.
The German government condemned on Monday the violent clashes occurred during the weekend at the controversial Eritrean music festival.
Almost a quarter of people who call Canada home are or have been an immigrant or a permanent resident. That's the largest proportion of the population in the country's history.
So housing aside, what is happening here is the intentional boiling over of a cultural melting pot that stands the risk of burning the whole country to the ground, all being facilitated by the very people whose sole purpose it is to prevent such a thing. Meanwhile, there are Canadians who have lived and worked their whole lives here, paid more than their dues. Many even served their country, and they just got shafted by the evil clown who's running this twisted circus.
Housing isn't a primary federal responsibility.
People are losing their homes because they can't keep up with the mortgages. And it's not like we can just go rent, because there's nothing available. And if there is, the rent has doubled and you can't afford it.
The cost of an average mortgage has doubled. The cost of an average down payment has doubled. The average cost of rent in the 10 biggest cities have doubled. Double trouble. What is the Prime Minister doing to the federal gatekeepers at the CMHC, whose mandate it is to carry out his policies? He's given them $27 million of bonuses. Now home buyers will have to pay high prices for the house and then fees to the CMHC so that his executive gatekeepers can get more money. Why doesn't he stop giving money to gatekeepers and start getting out of the way so we can build affordable homes?
Well, the increase in immigration and rising interest rates is putting more pressure on renters. Rent prices continue to soar right across the country. And according to a new report, Canada posted new highs last month.
And we are supposed to be understanding about it, because it's not their fault, it's immigration. These people coming in need somewhere to live, and that has caused a housing shortage. Don't we realise that? Well, yeah, we do. And we're asking why you're still bringing people in if we're full and you haven't got anywhere to put them. This is not an accident. And one quick look around at the crime, the mental health issues being played out on the street, the homeless crisis, the drug crisis, an epidemic of violence and thievery in a country where people are starting to feel less and less safe. Orchestrated by the people who begged for our vote with the pledge that they would be the one to keep us safe. And when you do look, you would have to be woefully blind not to see it, that this isn't an accident. So it must be a necessary step.
It's simple to me. Canada needs more people. Canadians understand the need to continue to grow our population if we're going to meet the needs of the labour force, if we're going to rebalance a worrying demographic trend.
Give it 2 years, and those 15-minute cities, with police and security, with services, with less crime, with affordable rent, will have lineups around the block to rent one of their pods and sign up for digital ID. This is either treason and an act of wanton destruction upon our own sovereignty, or a means towards someone's desired outcome. And I really don't think that someone is us. But again, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. And thanks for watching. Thank you to everyone who signed up for channel memberships. They're only 99 cents, which is as low as it goes, so less than $1 a month gets you some cool emotes and a growing community of like-minded people, which is what it's all about. And because I now have enough members, YouTube is going to let me add more emotes. So far, I have an evil clown, the Scream, an NPC, and a troll. I think I get to add another 4. So suggestions are encouraged in the comments because I'm not sure what to make. If you're not subscribed, why not? I mean, you stayed to the end bit. Why wouldn't you subscribe if you're staying for more than the subject content? It only makes sense. You should probably hit the like and subscribe buttons. It'll make you feel better. And then YouTube will tell you when the next one comes out. Everybody wins. Have a think about it. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks again for watching. And God bless you.